What's up, guys? It's Secure Clay, and I'm going to give my thoughts on the Smite 2 Alpha. I managed to play it for 3 days, and I've played probably well over 100 games over the course of those 3 days that I played. And I'm going to give you my honest thoughts about it, considering that I am a Smite player since 2015. I am just a plat player. That's the highest that I've hit. So take my opinions and stuff like that with a grain of salt. I'm not a GM or anything like that. But I've been playing the game for a very long time. And this is something that all my thoughts and stuff like that is compiled into one video with some Smite gameplay in the background. And these are also thoughts of other people I've been talking to, the community, and also pro players that have tweeted their thoughts and made their own videos. I'm going to go over the pros and cons and what I like and what I dislike about the game, and hopefully the future of the game and the future of esports and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get into it. And I will have to say, overall, I think it was a good game. Smite 2 Alpha was actually really fun to play, refreshing. The map was great. The designs on characters, even though they were still the same, but the abilities looked better. They felt more fluent. And the UI and the way that damage looks on your screen looks a lot better. How much damage you've taken and how much damage you do looks a lot better, and it's a lot cleaner. So I will say overall, in terms of like updated graphics and the update to the overall game as a true sequel is fantastic. So my first pro is I love the items in terms of the way that they are, like the active items. I think that's great. I think we need more of that in Smite 2. If they add more items, great. If they don't, fine. But I would like to see more active items. I think that's also it gives so much variety, build variety, different play styles. You can do so much with the shop. It's crazy, and I even discover half the things you could do, unlike other people who got the chance to play for the whole entire duration, because I only got to play right after work. So but I do think that is something that I actually love, is the build variety and the way that the active items are and the way that items are in general are just fantastic. The fact that you can go into a T2 item and then it builds into multiple items is huge. I don't think people understand how good that is for a MOBA. I love that. I think that's something that they should have done in Smite 1, but ultimately they're going to do it in Smite 2, and I'm so happy for that. Another pro I have is I like how everybody starts with beads, but I will go into how that can be a con in a little bit later. I don't mind having everybody have beads, especially for mages and ADCs. However, it can get kind of murky with the tanks and stuff like that. I do like how the one relic you do get is free, and ultimately it should be beads, considering since there's so much CC in the game in general, and especially in Smite 1. But maybe we could tweak it to where you could choose a relic. I don't know, but that's something that I also like. I also like how you start with one ward. I think that's also a big W. Instead of buying wards, you already have the ward in your pocket. I think that's okay. I wish that you could buy an additional ward so you can have 2 wards on the map, but that's something that they can probably fix later on, and hopefully they can address. Additionally, I like how Gold Fury and objectives play. I do like how Gold Fury is, especially it helps with sieging with the last Gold Fury that you get. It acts like a Bull Demon King and Joust in Smite 1. I like that a lot. It turns down the Phoenixes and towers and stuff for a little bit, and you can siege properly. I think that's awesome. Fire Giant. It was fine. The fighting it was not like, it wasn't OP or anything. The buff was really cool. I like how the whole character is on fire, not just like the little circle. I thought that was pretty cool, and it's a very good indicator on whether or not somebody has fire. Another thing that I actually really enjoyed was how the buffs are. I do think that they need to tweak them a little bit. The speed buff is nowhere near as good as like the blue buff, for example, is. With the extra protections you get on the blue buff is kind of nuts. Same thing with Blight doing the extra poison damage, and obviously inspiration, you giving everybody int and strength. I think that the speed is probably the least OP of them all. Maybe that they might tweak it at some point. Hopefully in beta they might give a little bit extra oomph to incentivize junglers to pick it up, because I know for me as Fenrir, I was just going to pick up Blight and just walk at people. The other pro that I have with the game is how the laning phase is played, specifically in solo, because I am a solo main. I love the Warhorn aspect of capturing it and making sure your minions are kind of buffed. I love that a lot. I think it gives solo lane something to fight over, and I also like the gold that you get in each side of the lanes. I think that also gives every lane to fight over too, so it gives you a reason to win your lane, because if you win your lane you get the more gold, and then you can take towers pretty early. So I do like that a lot. The other thing I really enjoy is the towers give you more gold, but that's a double-edged sword. I'll go into that more later. I do think that it's good, but it's also can be kind of snowbally ish. Speaking of snowball, I love how the comeback mechanics are not as prominent in Smite 2 than it is in Smite 1. I like that a lot. And to add on to that, I think Invader's Curse being gone is a blessing. Mind you, I don't want Season 5 again. I don't want Hercules running at me, when I'm trying to clear XP camps at level 1. I'm not saying that, but I do like not being slowed if I go to in their jungle and place a ward. That's something that I do enjoy not having to deal with. But I do think some form of Invader's Curse should be in it, whether it be less XP for invading past just 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. Nobody wants to have a level 1 Hercules walk at you at your speed buff. Nobody wants that. Another pro I have is just in general how the HUD looks. I think it takes everything that is good and with on both HUDs, the updated and the new one, or the updated and the old one, sorry. I think both of them they took everything from both Smite 1, from the updated version of the HUD and the old one, and they combined it, and I think it's great. I like how you can filter items, and it's easy. If you want attack speed and physical, you can just click on both of them and it gives you everything. And it's easy to navigate. If you want intelligence and strength items, you click both and it gives items that give you both. I think it's great. The other pro that I have is 3K pots are permanent. Finally. I don't know why it took us this long to realize that 3K pots should be permanent, but I'm so happy that they are. 3K strength pots and intelligence pots are now permanent versus physical and defensive, in Smite 1. I like that a lot. Huge change. Awesome for late game. You only really need to save up for that 3K and then you're good. You could even do it early if you wanted to. Like, let's say you hit a power spike item and then you get a 3K pot and then you could just run at people. If you're stomping in the gold lead, I think that's also good. It just opens up the path of like builds and stuff like that. Trying to think of the other pro that I have. I love the gods that they chose for alpha. It's not too many complicated gods in there. Most of them are pretty straightforward, and it's really to test the waters, especially with Bacchus being a high damage guardian. Fenrir and Loki being two of the OGs per se of Smite. When it comes to assassins, I like that. And obviously the ADCs. I mean, Cern has a lot of niche abilities with his passive and with his one. So I like how they were trying to figure out how are we going to do multiple different abilities with one ability has multiple different things to it, and how are they going to balance that? I think that was a good character to choose, rather than somebody like King Arthur that has 8 abilities, and Susano being, most people don't know how to AA cancel, to fully play it at its full potential. Jesus. My cons that I have, for the most part, is all map stuff, with the few things with items. Like I said earlier, with relics, I like and I don't like how they have beads. I wish that beads could also be on an active item, and then we have a choice of 4 relics. The best choices would be horrific, beads, Aegis, and blink. Specifically combat blink. I don't want anything else. I just want combat blink. The other blink is bad. I've said it for years that it's been bad. So I want combat blink, but not as an item, but as an actual relic. But they should make a beads item, an active item, like a Magi's or something like that. I think that would be cool and a good way to incentivize more build variety. The other thing that I have a con with is I want them to add in either Pyromancer or some form of fire minions before Fire Giant spawns. I think that would be awesome. Something. Or the portal to Fire Giant or whatever. I think that would be also, bring that back. Portal Demon, I think it was what it was called at one point. I think either one of those, perfectly fine. I think that'll be okay. It serves just more gold and added to one of the many things you could do to fight over in Smite 2. The other thing I have to say is that tanks were pretty hard to kill, so maybe looking at some of those items and fixing those and seeing what needs to be tweaked or whatnot. Like I said, having beads on everybody kind of makes it hard to kill some of these solo laners or supports that can just beads out of the CC immune ult. One of my other cons is some characters in the game scale with strength. Like Anubis Wrap ability, it scales with strength for some reason. I don't know why. I don't mind all intelligence characters. I think it'll be fine. Like, I don't know why it would scale with strength, because you're never going to build strength. It's just not ideal. But I like how they did it with Neath, where it was hybrid, where some of it was strength and some of it was int. And I like how they reworked some of the gods as well, with Cuckoo's being able to dash through the NATO. But I do think that they need to work on figuring out what abilities are going to scale with what. Don't just throw like a random haha gotcha just because. Like I said, I don't know why it would scale with strength. I think that's kind of weird. My other con is that towers probably, I think, give you too much gold. Maybe tone it down a little bit. Not saying that Smite 1 towers are good, but I would like to scale it down just a little bit, because the gold lead can definitely be like, holy shit, I have like 2 items on this person and I'm still the same level as them. It's kind of like that. I don't mind it, but at the same time, I think that they could address it and kind of even the playing field a little bit. The other con that I have that I think that some people will probably agree is that there are some characters in the alpha that were better than others. Like Anubis was OP. And I think int items are just better than strength items, and I think that needs to be addressed, but that'll come with time and balancing. I'm not really worried about it, but I think the int item tree has more or better options than the strength one. So I think that needs to be looked at. But otherwise than that, that's all I can think of for cons. It's just mainly the relics. Like, it just lack of build variety with relics, and I think it's not fair to the game to hinder that. Even though I don't like Aegis by any means, but I do think that some characters probably would prefer an Aegis over a Beats, and I think it will make the game feel different every time. That's something that I want. And the other con that I have, this is my last one, is I don't know where they're gonna put health potions, but I wish that they would not take up item slots, because I would want starter items at some point back in the game. That's the main thing. Because I like starter items, and I think that if you add in the health potions or mana potions in the same slots, I think that it could get kind of like cluttered. Maybe try to find a different bind for those, but on controller it's so difficult to figure that out. So, but I'm sure that they'll figure out a way to do it. But I do want starter items back, though. I think that would be a great addition to the game. You don't necessarily have to be OP like they are in Smite 1. They could go back to how it was in Smite in Season 4 or 5, where sometimes you want to build them and sometimes you don't. You don't necessarily have to. You could sell them late game if you don't want them. But I think that would be a great addition to the game, is having starter items. And overall, my wish list would be, I would like a dynamic map, where dynamic meaning that like it would change through the seasons. So fall you get pumpkins, summer you get beach balls and flamingos sometimes and stuff like that. I think that'll be a good refresher. My other wish list is for them to not remove bushes. I repeat, to not remove them. Bushes are really good. I love them. Keep them in the game. I know some people hate them, some people love them. I love them. It causes new gank potential, new ways to play the game. Keep them. I absolutely love them. And I also want them to keep the way that the harpies are, where you get at level 3, you get like the little extra like health. I think that's also a great addition, and I want them to keep that in the game. Otherwise than that, my other wish list would be for them to expand the Pro League. Obviously, bringing either EU or NA. Don't lock people into Georgia. I think having a online MOBA and have it grow with different levels of competition would be huge. I think that's when we saw Smite thrive at its peak, and it was fun to watch all the time. And I think that's all I have off the top of my head. I just know that tanks are pretty strong, and they need to figure out how to balance some of those items. All the hybrid items were good. I love the new way that when you load into the game, it'll tell you a build path, and you can choose that one. I think that's also awesome, and they should keep that. But anyways, that's my rant on Smite 2 stuff. I am very hopeful for the game. I think that it's in a good spot. It's in great hands. I just want to see more gods, and we'll see how that plays out over time. And I would like to see in beta maybe 25 gods, maybe half the roster would be ideal. And I cannot wait to play more. I think it's a great addition to the game, and I'm excited to see what they do with UE5. It does definitely feel like a true sequel. It does not feel like a copy by any means. So, but anyways, I stream every night on Twitch, 10:30 p.m. EST. It is Secure Clay, and I'm out. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. I would love to know what you guys think. Peace.